Hello and welcome back to MMTV. My name is Harry Benjamin. This is MotorMouth. Don't forget you can like and comment on the video if you liked it or loved it even. And don't forget to subscribe as well. It really helps us to grow and we like to have you along. This is another brand new video all about Formula One in 2021, looking at those all-important driver moves. Because in the last day, as I record this, Pierre Gasly has just re-signed for AlphaTauri for at least another year, but with two Haas F1 seats up for grabs, Alfa Romeo still unconfirmed with their driver lineup, plus Alex Albon and even Lewis Hamilton yet to re-sign with their respective teams. There's still all to play for, and we're going to have a look at what could happen. Now, I've been making some notes. I've got my notepad out. We'll start at the top. Mercedes. Bottas has re-signed. We know that already. Hamilton has yet to re-sign, but it is pretty much expected that he will, because where else is he realistically going to go? Unless he does a shock retirement, but I can't see that happening until he breaks Michael Schumacher's record of world championships, which he looks set to do if he stays at Mercedes. Plus, though, something to think about for Hamilton, with a budget cap coming in 2023 for driver salaries capped at around the $30 million mark, that could be something that's weighing on Hamilton's mind, because he is worth, well, a lot of money. Red Bull, that is the big question mark on top of the entire Formula One grid at the moment. Who is going to partner Max Verstappen for 2021? Because it's no secret Alex Albon has been struggling hugely with his promotion to the top team. He's at least 4/10 away every single time for Max Verstappen. And yes, there's been arguments about how Max is obviously the dominant one in the team. He's number one. He gets more of the newer parts. But bottom line, they need two drivers, one of them that is able to support Verstappen and fight for world championships and ultimately take the fight to Mercedes, which Alex Albon is currently not doing. So what is going to happen? Well, Red Bull are giving him as many chances as they can, probably more than they ever gave Gasly, that's for sure. I don't think he's going to get another year at Red Bull. They can't afford to give him another year at Red Bull. The best thing that they can do in this situation, if they don't want to bin him off altogether, which I don't think they should because he's a decent driver, I think Red Bull should demote Alex to AlphaTauri alongside Gasly, give him another year in an environment that he knows, is familiar with, someone he can grow a bit more and ready himself for that top drive again, which probably won't ever happen again because look what happened to Gasly. But I think him and Gasly would probably make a much better team pairing at AlphaTauri, which means if Albon goes to AlphaTauri for next year and has a rebuilding year, much like Gasly has, who replaces him? Well, Nico Hulkenberg's on the market, Sergio Perez is on the market, George Russell is supposedly on the market as well, but all of that means that Red Bull are going to be looking outside of their junior talent program, which is pretty much unheard of. Danny Kiviak, well, don't think he's going to be promoted anytime soon. He's had his shot, and to be honest, he's had more lives than a cat, really. I think he's out. His time in F1 is done come the end of the year, and he will be replaced by Albon, I'm pretty sure. Definitely not going to happen, is it? But that is what I would do if I was in charge of Red Bull. And I would stick Nico Hulkenberg into the Red Bull for at least a year to support Max Verstappen, to be able to fight for those podium finishes and fight the likes of Bottas, Hamilton, and keep those Ferraris away as well. Because they, although struggling this year, they're going to be back and better probably than they were before, because Ferrari don't just sit around and wait for things to come to them. They're going to make it happen. So Red Bull need two strong drivers that are able to take the fight for the team world championship at the end of the day. Nico Hulkenberg in Red Bull for 2021 until Red Bull Junior program can get their act together and get a good driver coming up through. Speaking of the Red Bull Junior program, of course, a lot is made of it. They've had the likes of Carlos Sainz, Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Jean-Eric Vergne, Antonio Felix da Costa, naturally Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, Danny Kiviak. A lot of them get treated quite badly. Remember Jaime Alguersuari? Exactly. So who is next, really? And the next one is Yuki Tsunoda, Japanese driver who's currently racing in Formula 2, third in the championship right now after a bit of a slow start. He's making it quite a good job of it, really, considering it's his rookie year in Formula 2. The likelihood is he's a good contender to replace Kiviak and go alongside Pierre Gasly for next year in the AlphaTauri. But if Red Bull want to stay loyal to Albon, which you'd think they would do considering they've kept him on this long, If Albon and Gasly line up for AlphaTauri next year, I expect Yuki Tsunoda to become the official reserve driver and to be taking part in a hell of a load of free practice 1 sessions while he does another campaign in Formula 2 to make sure he is fully ready to then have a crack at the 2022 AlphaTauri seat. Alfa Romeo, that is next on my list, and I've written here, Alfa Romeo likely to keep both drivers. If you'd have asked me that about 3 weeks ago, I would have said absolutely not. Kimi Raikkonen will probably retire and they'll bin off Antonio Giovinazzi, which, to be said, could still happen, but the more time that goes on, the more likely it seems that Kimi Raikkonen will probably stay on for another year before supposedly retiring. But if the last race in Portugal showed anything, it showed that Kimi's still got it. Antonio Giovinazzi, well, I mean, it's not showing anything massive, but he's there or thereabouts with Kimi Raikkonen, but more often than not, he's on the back foot. He's had some pretty huge crashes as well, which is not very good to have that consistently on your record. It's a bit of a black mark, really, but Ferrari have ploughed lots of money into him, and they're probably not going to want to give up on him straight away. So the more time goes on, and the fact they haven't announced anybody yet, and given that Mick Schumacher is obviously banging at the door, currently leading Formula 2, and obviously with the name Schumacher, that brings a lot of sponsorship and a lot of PR greatness. I think, though, that because Alfa Romeo have also just signed to stay on with the Sauber team for next year as the title sponsor and with naming rights, I think they're going to give both Raikkonen and Giovinazzi another year at Alfa Romeo. Now, Ferrari have actually got a bit of a predicament, because although they've got their main team lined up for the next few years, great lineup of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz Jr., they've got a lot of junior drivers chomping at the bit in Formula 2 at the moment. We talk about Mick Schumacher, we've also got Callum Ilott, Robert Schwartzman as well, who are all in the top 5 of the Formula 2 championship right now, and all, you know, they're all deserving of Formula 1 roles at least. But I think what's going to happen is Mick Schumacher is going to be the only Ferrari junior driver that gets an actual race seat for 2021. And I think the fact that Haas has 2 empty seats, they are a Ferrari customer team because they take their power units. It looks like Mick Schumacher will slot in to the Haas seat for next season, while Callum Ilott and Robert Schwartzman might be deserving of Formula 1 drives. Don't think they're going to get them next year. Callum Ilott and Schwartzman, I predict, will just become reserve drivers for both Haas and Alfa Romeo with some free practice 1 drives. Robert Schwartzman as well, brilliant driver, incredibly young, but that's his thing. He's incredibly young. He's only 21 years old. He's first ever year in Formula 2, bit like Yuki Tsunoda for Red Bull. He'll be fine doing another year in Formula 2. Callum Ilott, on the other hand, bit older. He was a part of the Red Bull Junior program, now part of Ferrari Driver Academy. He'll want to make a mark if he gets any free practice running next year, but I don't think he'll get a race seat. So Haas, they've binned off Kevin Magnussen, which I think is a mistake, but they've also got rid of Romain Grosjean, who I think his time has come to a natural end in Formula 1. That means they've got 2 empty seats. Like I say, Mick Schumacher, I think, is going to fill one of them, and I think they're also going to fill the other seat with a brand new driver, another rookie, currently 6th in the Formula 2 championship standings, and it's another Russian who could be joining the grid in the form of Nikita Mazepin. Loads of rumours around this guy. He's been testing Formula 1 cars for the last couple of years, predominantly with Force India and Racing Point, and currently doing loads of unlimited testing to get his racing licence because his dad is a Russian billionaire. There was even rumours that his dad might be trying to buy the Haas F1 team, which Gunther Steiner has categorically denied. But doesn't mean he's not in with a good chance of the seat, bringing a huge chunk of money with him, which Haas desperately need. He's a rookie, but he's actually not too shabby. 6th in the Formula 2 driver standings, only behind the Ferrari Driver Academies, Robert Schwartzman, Callum Ilott, Mick Schumacher, and Red Bull's Yuki Tsunoda. So he is right up there with the best of the next young talent. Now, despite having 2 drivers lined up for next year already, previously confirmed at the start of the season, Williams might still have a seat up for grabs. Nicholas Latifi looks like he's there to stay because he brings a chunk of money. George Russell, however, in the last week or so, rumours have really ramped up at the fact that he might lose his seat to someone with money, because Williams need the money. Even though they've got brand new buyers, more money will always help. And George Russell could well lose out to Sergio Perez, who of course brings a huge amount of Mexican sponsorship with him, but also brings a huge amount of talent and experience, and could well be just the right driver that Williams needs to take them forward in the long term. But Russell says he has a contract. He's managed by Toto Wolff. He's effectively a Mercedes driver on loan to Williams. They're not going to lose that seat without a fight, and Toto has stated to Russell that he has got a seat on the grid next year. So we could be talking about absolute nothing here, but I don't think it's worth dismissing, because when you have a driver like Perez on the market with that talent and that money backing him, he could well end up at Williams. It's whether Perez wants to go to Williams. That's the question. Does he see he's got enough left in his career to take on a challenge of getting the team who are currently at the back of the grid back up front where they belong? So that's just a little inkling as to what we think will happen for next season in terms of driver moves, but it's still all to play for, and F1 is completely unpredictable, and I'm pretty sure everything I've said probably won't come true. But hey, that's just what I think, and basing it off of rumours and pretty well-founded links, I think that's probably what's going to happen. However, here's what I'd like to see. Albon, he should go back to AlphaTauri alongside Gasly. He needs to rebuild, and I think AlphaTauri just seems like it's a better environment. It's an easier car to drive than the Red Bull, and it will repair his reputation much like it has done for Pierre Gasly. And if it doesn't, well, then we know that you can't cut it as an F1 driver. Yuki Tsunoda, the Japanese young gun, next up in the Red Bull talent program. Although probably deserving of that AlphaTauri seat next year because of the Albon issue, I'm pretty sure Red Bull are going to give him another year in Formula 2. And much like they did with Pierre Gasly, perhaps, also give him time in Super Formula, the Japanese version of Formula 1, which is just as competitive. Currently contains drivers like Kamui Kobayashi, Nick Cassidy as well, who's just signed for Formula E. So it's a really high stakes championship which he could benefit from if he takes part in that, alongside some regular free practice sessions for AlphaTauri. Kiviak, gone. He's had his 9 lives. It's time to get out, mate. It's probably better for you anyway. Nico Hulkenberg, he's done such a stellar job stepping in for a few races this year for Racing Point, immediately on the pace, and starting from the back of the grid at the Eiffel Grand Prix at the Nürburgring to come home in the points is pretty fantastic, having done next to no laps in any of the practice sessions and only jumped in for qualifying. It's just incredible what an amazing driver he is, and only reaffirmed how the fact he's never got a podium is unbelievable. But Red Bull should take him for next season, even if it's just for 1 year. At least they'll give Hulkenberg a proper shot at getting a podium finally, but also it allows them time to get their next junior drivers ready. Alfa Romeo will keep Kimi Raikkonen for another year, because whoever is in that second seat alongside him is going to be young, and Kimi is great because he seems like he's sort of mellowed perhaps a little bit in his older age and is willing to give advice and mentor a young gun next to him. That young gun is currently Antonio Giovinazzi, but I think he's had his time and should be replaced by Mick Schumacher, because Schumacher and Raikkonen in a team again, well, I think that's something we just all want to see. Now, the Haas situation, contrary to what I predicted, I think they should put Perez in that Haas seat with his Mexican backers and someone who can lead the team forward. They've been competitive before in recent times. They've just gone a bit wrong with the Ferrari power unit. So I think Perez could be really beneficial to lead that team alongside a rookie in the form of Callum Ilott. He's a young British guy backed by Ferrari. I think he'd be perfect for that second seat alongside Perez, who could, as at the same time leading that team, be a bit of a mentor for Ilott as well. Leave Williams alone. Russell, Latifi, give him another year. Hopefully Williams will make a step up in performance, and I think that's a pretty decent driver lineup. We know George Russell is very good anyway. Nicholas Latifi still yet to prove himself properly, but he brings a lot of money. And finally, the young gun, the final guy from the Ferrari Young Driver program, Robert Schwartzman. Brilliant in Formula 2 this year. I say give him another year in Formula 2. Give him a regular FP1 drive for Haas and Alfa Romeo. And then I think everyone's a happy Larry. Is that a thing? Yeah, we'll go with it. And that is it for this video. Do you agree with me? I mean, if you don't, that's fair enough, but I think I've made a pretty accurate predictions there for who will be on the 2021 grid next year. One thing's for certain though, it's inevitable that we will have an M. Schumacher returning to Formula 1 on the grid for next season, which is going to be absolutely amazing, in the form of Michael's son, Mick Schumacher. He's either going to be in Alfa Romeo or Haas. Either way, pretty sure he will be on the grid, and that is going to be exciting. And what is the great thing that's come out of all this is that we have some amazing young talent coming through at a vast rate of knots. It's amazing, and those are just the ones as part of the driver academies. There's even more outside of that. So really exciting future for Formula 1 and young drivers in general. So what do you think though? Do you think I've got it right? Do you think I've got it wrong? Let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, don't forget to, well, like it, and you can hit that subscribe button as well. We'd love to have you on board. But in the meantime, I've been Harry Benjamin. This is MotorMouth, and I'll see you next time.